family money, this a triple threat. Really started with nothing, had to manifest. If you don't know your worth, they gon' give you less. Why they envy me? Cause I'm the best. MVP. My legacy is how they remember me. And I know success.
Welcome back to another episode of the Triple Threat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Vic Gurley, aka MVP Vic.
Co-host Chris Bruce, aka Detroit Mogul.
Co-host Brian Keys, a.k.a. BK609. What's good?
And we got a deep episode today.
Absolutely.
Deep.
So we're going to talk about something that is pretty much on the forefront of a lot of conversations today.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about mental health and challenges, lifestyle of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I know me personally, people see how much I work. People say, how do you do it? You know, you're up late, you wake up early. I'm up at 5 a.m. I may go to bed at 2, 3. They say, how do you do it? Me personally, I say it's a motivation. For one, I have a son to take care of. 2, I know what it's like to be broke, and I never want to go back.
Say that.
So there's different takes on it. Some people think, you need to make sure you get your rest. Some people agree with the whole, you sleep when you die.
Right.
Some people say things like that.
Right.
So what's y'all take on that? How do y'all feel about that when it comes to the grind and balancing that with your actual mental health and sanity?
I'm gonna go deep on this, but I'm gonna let Brian take over first.
You want me to go first?
I'm gonna have Brian go first.
All right, I'll go first. So I think that number one, you have to make sure you're taking care of you. I think you and I have challenged each other on different levels. You challenged me to get my black ass up instead of laying in the bed. It's about 9, 10, and I've challenged you to get your ass back in the gym. And I'm pretty sure you can admit that now that you've been back in there, how you feel?
I'm good. I feel
good. Or you feel better?
I feel better.
You feel better. So that has been my push. Chris too.
Before we skip over that,
nah, man, I ain't been getting up at 5. That was about to, no.
That's because he stay up to 12:30 playing Call of Duty.
I just wanted to make sure that
stay up a little longer.
I accept
your skills the other day. You know what I mean? But you know what? I'm not to give an excuse, but there's a reason why I'm like not with getting up at 5 a.m.
Okay.
So you're a night person?
Huh? No, I'm gonna explain it. So.
Okay.
When I lived in D.C., I worked a little, I had a government job, you know what I'm saying? And everybody who's from that area, Northern Virginia, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, DMV, you got to get up early to get to work. If you got to be at work by 7, 8 o'clock, you need at least 2 hours. Because if anything happens, you're going to sit in about 2 hours of traffic. So Monday through Friday, I was up by like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning to be at work by 7, 8 o'clock to sit in traffic for another hour and 2 to come home, right? And in addition to that, I had a part-time job working in my same building, but as like a front desk dude. A lot of y'all probably like front desk dude, but this front desk job paid well. It's $30 an hour.
It's good.
So I did that Saturday and Sunday from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So after doing that for so long and, trying to make sure my family was good, trying to make sure I was able to provide for them, make sure, everything was straight, make sure they didn't have any wants. Once I got myself in a financial position to where I didn't need a part-time job, I told myself, I ain't doing this shit no more. I'm never going to get myself in a situation to where I need a part-time job to make sure everybody's good. And I'm not getting up early if I don't have to.
Now, I feel you on that because I used to always have to wake up early too. My last job I had, which was 11 years ago, but that job I worked from 10 to 7. Sometimes I had that mandatory overtime, so it was 8 to 7. Working at Bank of America, and I hated waking up early too. And shout out to Eric Thomas. He said, "I don't need an alarm clock. My passion wakes me up." You know what I'm saying? And so I started living, once I became a full-time entrepreneur, I started living by that. Like, I don't need an alarm clock. Now, granted, I ain't gonna lie, now I got my kids with me. So I got to take both of them to school. But I do got an alarm clock now. Right. But for the most part, I don't have an alarm clock. I wake up, I know exactly what I need to do. And my thing is that I set my day up where I get the two most important things done first.
Yep.
No emails, no crazy social media stuff. I check a little bit, but then I get off. 2 most important things done. Boom. Once they're done, now I can figure out the other little stuff I need to do for the day.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, sleep is important. Now, I will say this. Initially, in the first few years of me as a full-time entrepreneur, I didn't get much sleep. It was grind. Right. I got obsessed. Your obsessions become your possessions. So I was obsessed with the grind. However, once I started making a little bit of money, I started being able to delegate certain stuff, hire certain people, start freeing up my time. That's when I said, okay, I got to focus on myself.
Right.
Reading, sleeping, stuff like that is very important, because if you don't refuel yourself, how can you go out there and perform at your best level?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even I've been slacking. I'll be honest with you, and I want y'all to hold me accountable, because I'm so bad at this. But the gym, when I used to go to the gym every morning before I work, it made me feel so much better.
Oh, facts. That's why we're gonna get you to join
I was
the Apex Gym. We're gonna get the Detroit Mogul to join the Apex Gym.
You know what it is?
So that
it's
not far from where you live.
You know why I slack?
Why?
Because I look this good. I look this good without
Hey,
working.
I give it to you. You're in
know what
pretty
I'm
good
saying?
shape to be somebody that doesn't go to
know.
the gym.
People
But
be asking.
imagine how you could look if you did.
Nah, it's facts. Nah, because I just need.
Because we getting up
2
there.
weeks
You
in
know,
there.
Vic a little young boy. You know what I'm saying? But
That's
me
true.
and
That's
you,
true. we up there.
we getting up there.
That's true. That's true.
Okay. So you're gonna get in the gym.
Mm-hmm. I'm not waking up at 5.
No. All right. Just to
I give you 9
clarify,
o'clock.
because it's not about not about the waking up.
I know. I know. Go ahead. Tell me what it's about.
It's about the mental.
Yep.
So, all right, and I'll give an example.
Yeah.
Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Brian got an Airbnb together. It's his first time getting his feet wet with Airbnb.
Right.
I'm experienced with it.
Right.
I've done it all. Started from scratch, built it up. Now I'm showing him the way. So the whole getting up early is not about the time. It's more about the mentality.
Right.
So having that mental discipline to say, all right, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do something productive. And I'm not even saying, I remember what I said. I didn't say you had to leave the house. I said, get up, do something productive.
Agreed.
Because there's always something to do.
I agree.
And even early on when we got the Airbnb up, it was always stuff to do.
Yeah.
But 9, 10 o'clock, I FaceTime, see if he up. All the lights off. All you can see is his teeth and his eyeballs. That's it.
I feel like that's a diss to us, chocolate.
I'm about to say
All you could see was his teeth and his
You
eyeballs.
light skins glow in the
But
dark.
the challenge was to challenge you mentally.
It is.
I got it.
So you and then on top of that, you challenged me to go to the gym, right? I said, all right, bet. I accept that challenge.
But it took you a little bit of time to be consistent with it.
When I wasn't at the gym, I worked out at home.
That don't count.
Why doesn't it? I'm a full-time dad.
I understand that. There's childcare at the gym.
There definitely is not.
Maybe not at your gym.
I have a 2-year-old.
There is childcare.
Not there, so
Not at my gym.
I don't know about
Hey,
you, but
just
there
like,
is some
just
gyms,
like you
though.
want me to make sacrifices, you can't make them too. Go to different.
All
gym
right,
that
but
provide.
see, my thing is what I'm getting at
Yeah.
is How many times would you say you woke up at 5 a.m.?
Probably about 7, 8, 10, maybe 1 or 2.
Two.
Yeah, okay,
About 2.
all right. Yeah, let's keep it
I'm
a
gonna be
stack.
real. I'll be real. I did only do it like 2 or 3 times.
And why?
Because I was just fucking lazy.
Because you didn't have nothing to lose.
That's true. I
Yeah.
didn't.
There's nothing on the line.
I agree.
And that's the problem. When you get complacent
yeah.
and you like, all right, well, yeah, I'm good. I'm living. I'm comfortable. You get complacent.
Facts.
So then you start slacking off. So you don't elevate. You can't elevate if you're not challenging yourself constantly.
Listen, I got a question for both of y'all.
Uh-huh.
All of us here, we've been successful
Uh-huh.
for a very long time. But, for the people that's listening, and I want y'all to tell me, because I haven't asked y'all, what is one of the lowest points of your life? And how was you able to get past it?
Mine, I'll talk about mine. So I dropped out of college. I went to college 08, dropped out 2010. I was back home in Nashville. I was back home. I was living in the projects with my girlfriend at the time. I was trying to stay out the street. Well, I was trying to get out the streets, right? So I had to find a job. I ended up getting a job as a janitor at a middle school. I was 19, going on 20 years old. And I was a janitor at a middle school. So I'm gonna be honest, mentally, at that age, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Cause and I remember specifically thinking back then, like, man, janitors is like old dudes who pissed away their life. But here I was. So I remember the day that I came home, and y'all know when they used to deliver the phone books, they dropped the phone books off at your door, like in the little plastic bag. So here, this phone book, I'm talking about, it's been there for months. Walk past it every day. So this day in particular, I came home, sat down on the bed. Our bed was a mattress on the floor.
So you didn't have no bed spring or nothing.
No, nah. It was a mattress on the floor. We had a headboard. The mattress was pushed up against the headboard on the wall. That was our bed. I sat down there, and I just remember, and nobody else was home. It was just me. And I was like, this ain't it. Like, I got to do something else, man. Like, this ain't it. Walked downstairs, grabbed the phone book, and I called a Navy recruiter. Now, the reason I say this was probably one of my lowest is because I didn't have anything. And I always said, I was always the one that said, I would never join the military. Like, they ain't got nothing for me. So this was an absolute last resort.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I went, grabbed that, went to see him the next day. That's kind of like the day that I would say changed my life. When I made that decision, because I was in a terrible spot. Like, I'm talking, like, I didn't want to hang out with nobody. I didn't want to go nowhere, do nothing.
So
I was broke.
I was about to say you was broke. You was behind the bills.
Yeah.
Did you have a car?
I did have a car.
Okay.
I had a. That's another funny story. So I had a car. Car ended up fucking up, basically.
Break it down.
Couldn't do nothing with it.
I had them type of cars.
So it was to the point where, like, I was waiting on the first to come, because that's when she got food stamps in.
Right.
Now, mind you, I've never been the type that wanted to, like, live off of a woman or anybody for that. I mean, because I've always done everything on my own. So that in itself was a battle that I had going on with my mental.
Got you. Did you ever get to a point where you was like thinking about suicide or anything?
I wouldn't say that I got to the suicidal point. Depression, though, definitely.
Depression, yeah.
Yeah.
And you really had nobody to talk to, so your last resort was just like, let me just join the military.
Yeah. And I didn't have had no guidance. I didn't know where to go. So that was the only thing that I could think of at the moment. So that's what I did.
Wow. What about you, Brian?
So for me, it was I don't remember the exact year, but I had just purchased a house. It was my first house. It was 2000 something. I don't know. I was 21. I had just purchased a townhouse, and I was married at the time, happily married. Some of y'all may not know that, but yeah. And we purchased the house based off of both of our income. And we were both contractors for the government. She took a pay cut of 33%, which is huge. Huge. So bills started piling up, and I was in control of the bills. And I would just shuffle money here and there. Let me pay this. Let me take care of that. Let me not pay this until then. And, this date, this needs to be due. Like, I was just shuffling stuff around just to try to make ends meet. And, I tried to make sure that my family did not go without. I tried to make sure that they didn't know that stuff was wrong. But the whole time, I think us as men, as providers, we hide the things that we go through.
Yeah, facts.
We hide the pain. We hide the stress. Mm-hmm. You'll see us out and about, happy, smiling, but on the inside, we're literally like,
Dying.
Yeah.
trying to gasp for air, thinking like, yo, how am I going to fix this situation? So I ended up getting a part-time job with FedEx as a driver.
Wow.
And it paid, I want to say it was like $16 an hour. As a driver, I would pick up packages and bring them back to the facility or whatever else. But it was tough because Monday through Friday, I did not see my family.
Damn.
Monday through Friday, I was working when I say 9 to 5, I'm just saying a regular job. I'm not specifically speaking to the hours of 9 to 5.
Right.
But I would get up early, go to this job. I had about an hour in between time of leaving that job before I needed to be at FedEx to work and drive. And again, nothing is close.
Mm-hmm.
It was about an hour drive away from where I lived. So by the time I got off work from picking up packages and dropping them off and getting back home, it was like roughly 11 o'clock midnight. So I did not see my daughter until the weekends. I saw her mother, of course, but even by the time I saw her, she was in bed asleep. She did her part. She made sure that I had a plate of food, laid out for me, and she helped with, getting my clothes together or whatever else, ironing my uniform because I was uniform, or helping me with my clothes and stuff like that, work clothes because the 9 to 5 required a suit every day. But it was just, that was tough. That was tough. But I made sure that they never saw the struggle. They never saw, they were still able to, when she needed to go grocery shopping, it wasn't a, hey, look, we got $20. It was, all right, let me move this around so that she can get what she needs to get, and I'll, take something else from here, whatever else. But I think that was the lowest point for me because I was worried. Yeah. Big time. And then, once everything worked out, I ended up doing it for long enough until everything got where it needed to be. And I ended up getting another contract position that paid me what FedEx paid me, plus what the other company was paying me, and let it go.
It's funny. I could tell several stories of some of my low points, but it's funny that most of us men will always say our lowest points is we ain't had much paper.
Yeah.
If you put women on this panel, broke up, divorce,
emotional.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's usually where they're at their lowest points of life, is when they're going through some type of, something with typically a relationship.
Right. And it's not that we don't deal with it. We do still deal with the pain from breakups and stuff like that. But for us, we are taught to be providers.
Yeah.
And if you can't provide, you feel like you're not a man.
Absolutely.
And I think that's and I don't like to, bring race into every conversation, but I think that that's something that's in our community, the Black community.
I don't even think it's just the Black community, but yeah, it's definitely prevalent in our community. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But even just men in general, a lot of times where we look weak or soft if we show emotions. If we, you know what I'm saying, we go through a breakup and they like, most of the time, if you're feeling bad and down and out, unfortunately, there hasn't been a bond created through men strong enough where we can come to each other and say, "Hey, man, you know, old girl broke my heart, man, and I'm feeling that. I'm really feeling like jacked up. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because most of the time, if you come to somebody with that, they're gonna be like, "Man, let's go get another chick, bro.
Yeah.
Stop playing. Like, what you worried about all that? You know?"
But
what I'm
I
saying?
think that comes with us. It's like we also have to choose our friends wisely and choose the friends we have those conversations with wisely.
Yeah.
So I like to believe that I'm a friend that if either one of you were really dealing with something that you, as far as a woman, and you needed to sit down and have a conversation and cry, I'm not going to look at you like, yo, bro, you soft.
Right.
Because I have cried.
Yeah. It's maturity too, though.
Yeah. Like, I think the older, I'm not going to say the older you get. I think it's, again, the more mature you get, and the more in touch you become with your emotions as a man, and you're like, yo, it is okay.
Yeah.
To let these tears out in the shower.
Facts.
It is okay to sit at the end of my bed on the floor and just cry, or it is okay to scream out of anger in my house alone because I'm frustrated at what's going on in my life and where my life is. Once you get to that point, I think that is when you have unlocked the box that, you know, that's next level box. That's that box where you're like, yo, I'm being in touch with myself, and I'm getting to the point where men need to be. I think, like you said, that is an issue with men.
Yeah.
Is that men think that it's a problem to cry because crying shows weakness. My daughter has seen me cry numerous times. Now, were they cries or tears of sadness? No. They were tears of happiness. She knows that when she does certain things, and like I'll never forget the time when I bought her first pair of Yeezys. She was like, I want to say, I don't remember, between 7 and 9. But she had kept asking and asking and asking. I was like, man, I'm not buying those 7 or 9. I don't remember. I'm not buying you some Yeezys. Your foot's going to grow, and it's going to be a waste of $200 and something dollars. No. But her reaction broke my heart. It broke my heart.
Daughters do that for you, though.
Yeah, she cried. Like, she was so happy, but it wasn't I can't even say it was a like materialistic type of happy. Like, oh snap, I just got a Gucci bag. It was a wow.
I think the difference between you and, say, me and Vic, we talked about this off camera. You probably are better at having empathy. Yeah, you can feel other people's energy, and that can. You feel their happiness or their sadness, and that can also bring you a certain happiness or sadness. I think me and Vic struggle with having empathy sometimes, that to the point where, like, it's hard for me personally. I've had my daughter's mom, literally her grandmother died, and she's coming to me for me to, you know, give her some type of letting her grieve and some type of like, you all right? You got, and I don't even feel shit.
Oh, see, yeah, nah.
And that's the exact, and it's funny that you say that, because the last situationship, I guess you could say the most recent, was that very thing. And she had a death in the family, and she came to me, and I flat out told her, because she expressed, like, you know, she felt like I didn't care or whatever. I said, I promise it's not that. Yeah. I just really do not know what to do in this situation.
Yeah, I'm lost.
I have no idea. And I think y'all know who I'm talking about, but yeah, and it was just like, I don't even know what to do.
Yeah. And they would look like we don't care.
Yeah. And I try to explain till I'm blue in the face, but it's like.
See, I'm the exact opposite, bro. Like, I wear my emotions on my shoulders, and I like feel people, and I feel their pain, and, you know, like I take like a lot of people will be like, or even you with your red beanie, you'd be like, man, toughen up. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I take a lot of stuff personal.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff personal. And it's because I feel like when I accept you and when I make that emotional connection with you as a friend, family member, relationship, child, whatever, I want it back too. You know what I mean? Like, for example, I take for example, when we posted the fact that we were launching our podcast on IG, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I took it personal that there were people who have DM'd me, who have called me, who have texted me, or just asked questions in general, and I've seen them repost other people's stuff, but they didn't repost mine. I took it personal. You would be like, man, fuck that shit, man. Let that shit go. You know what I'm saying? Man up, toughen up. It is what it is. We move forward. We're going to do what we're going to do. But I'm looking at it like, well, damn, but why is it okay for me to support you and whatever it is that you've got going on, even if it's selling a pair of socks and you ask me to repost it? This is socks we're talking about here. Whereas we're talking about teaching people or showing people ways of making money. We're sharing stuff that a lot of people in our positions will keep to themselves.
Right.
Because a lot of people want to continue to be the alpha male in their group. They don't want you to get on their level. They want you to continue to look up at them and say, yo, I want to be that, or I want to be like that. They don't want to give you those gems. We're doing that, and you can't repost that to share with other people.
So do you know when, or have you always been like, I guess in touch with your emotional side? And I asked that because, so like in that specific example that you just gave there, so like yeah, what you said, that's exactly how I feel about it. And the reason is because I've dealt with so many different people, family especially. So the way I look at it is, if my own blood will cross me, anybody else in this world would.
Right.
So I'm not gonna put or stress over something that they do or don't do.
Yeah.
Because I know at the end of the day, whenever something got to be done, whenever shit hits the fan, whenever things have to be have to happen, it's all on me. I can't go to somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna after you answer that, I'm gonna tell you how you got to change that. But go ahead.
Like I said, I think for me it is. I've always been that way. I'm a Gemini.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Me too.
That's right.
Oh, y'all both are Gemini.
You are. We're just different types of Gemini.
Both.
He's at the. You're more towards the end, and I'm towards the beginning.
I'm the last day.
Yeah.
Oh,
on
I'm
the
at
cusp
the
of
beginning
Cancer.
of it.
Okay, that's why.
So I have that where I can flip the script. I can be laughing and smiling and joking with you. But if you say something that I feel has disrespected me or made me feel away, I can flip and be like, yo, what's good? What you trying to say? What's up? You want to go to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that when it comes to that, I just expect things out of people that I would give to them. You know what I mean? I expect, and I think that that's a lot of people's flaws, that they'll be like, yo, I would give this person the shirt off my back, but they wouldn't even give me
a nickel,
a slice of their pizza or something like that. You know what I mean? And like I said, when it came to, again, some people are certain ways. Like, I don't repost stuff for the most part.
Right.
Because it's like, okay, you do this every week. I'm not going to keep reposting it. Everybody knows about it, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also like, but if you expect me to repost your stuff and I do it, then you should be willing to do it the same for me.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things that can come into it or why they don't post. You never know.
Right. And I mean, but it's like, well, what's the real reason?
But that's the thing but here's the thing though. You are making up a story of why you think they're not posting, but you really don't know.
It's true.
You know, because what if it doesn't align with their job? Their job doesn't want. I'm not saying that is, but I'm just saying, what if their job has certain restrictions on them posting? What?
I mean, but that's also things that I think of too.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at it like, okay, we're posting about a podcast that's teaching you how to make money.
Right.
You can't tell me that you can repost that this person makes mixed drinks and go buy a mixed drink from this person.
But what if? But the thing is that if their audience, the thing about it is that if my audience only like to mess with streets, even though I may know, and I'm in the streets too, even if I know that this is good information, I'm not gonna repost it because nobody's gonna pay attention to it because they in the streets. They don't hear nothing about no entrepreneurship. You know what I'm saying? So what I've learned, and this has helped me with my personal development growth and stuff like that, is that I went to this thing. It's absolutely insane. You go there for 3 days. It's called Landmark, and what it is that they do it's a personal development event that they have. It's for 3 days, and what they teach you in there is 3 long days, literally the whole fucking day, and you in there learning shit. But it's good because what I learned from it was that things happen, and then we create a story about what happened. Right. So us 3 could literally see something that happens in the club, and we tell a story to somebody else and tell 3 different stories because we're coming from our lens.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing about it is that it's when we understand that our lens is not the same as somebody else's lens, we have more understanding. Now we can see that, hey, well, this is why they probably didn't post. Because from their lens of how they looking at it, it's like, oh, my audience ain't gonna care about it, so I'm not gonna repost it. Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So when I start learning that and start saying, okay, let me stop making a judgment on why somebody did this or why somebody didn't. Because when we make up that story is then why we end up getting frustrated. Point example, one of my lowest times was when my grandmother died. Everybody knows my grandmother, she's tatted on my arm. You know what I'm saying? She was my heart, you know, like she literally raised me. My mom was at work all the time. My dad was at work. So I was with my grandma. Took me on my first plane ride, took me on my first train ride, all this stuff. Now, my grandma got sick. She got osteoporosis. She couldn't walk, whatever. She was in Detroit. My dad said, all right, where you want to be? She said, I want to die in Jamaica. My dad said, bet. 2005, he moved her to Jamaica. Moved from Detroit over there. Lived there ever since. Now, the issue is I moved to Florida. My grandma got to a point where she was getting real sick. And she didn't want us, any of her grandkids, to know that she was getting ready to die and to see how she looked. She wanted us to remember how she looked. How on my arm, she wanted us to remember her like that. So she said, do not tell my grandsons. Don't tell them anything. Now, luckily, I told my grandma, I always told her, I said, I'm going to get a tattoo of you. I luckily was able to show her the tattoo of her and stuff like that, whatever. But I was pissed because the day before my daughter's, I think, 2nd birthday, my grandmother died.
Wow.
And my dad didn't tell me. My dad, this was the 2nd time this happened. My dad did this shit with my grandfather. My grandfather died when I was a senior in high school. I found out by a family friend. Somebody literally called me. I'm just getting home with my brothers. And they're like, yeah, everything's okay, man. I'm praying for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, yeah, your grandfather died. I'm like, what? So I was pissed at him for that. The 2nd time this happened, and I'm like, you know how close I am with your mother, and you gonna not tell me. I was frustrated with him. I was pissed. And to that point, it's like I had an emotion. I cried for like 15 minutes, got over it, bam, cool, whatever. And that's when I got very cold-hearted. Like I just got real cold-hearted, like, you know, like, can't trust nobody, don't nobody give a fuck about you. All this, I grew this, like, just mean, just like, I don't give a fuck about nothing. And I was frustrated with my dad for years until we had a conversation. And then when I did my personal, you know, landmark and stuff like that, I started learning. Like, when he told me why he didn't tell me, I was like, oh, shit, I can't really be mad at him. It was my grandma's idea. She was the one who... But yeah, if I hadn't did the personal development and didn't understand, like, you know, if I was just going by my reasoning, it was like, yo, he just didn't want to tell me because that's the shit that he do.
Yeah.
He don't want to tell me. He don't think I'm strong enough or I'm old enough to handle bad news. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, that's what I started learning. Is just like things happen. We create a story around it, and typically that story is always a bad story. It's always worse than what it really is. Always.
Not my stories. My stories be with it.
Nah.
I got a sixth sense about these people out here. No, I'm playing, but I appreciate that.
So-
I appreciate that.
Okay. And that actually, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know. I think it could be for me and for people watching.
Yeah.
So how do you approach, or how do you begin, I guess, the journey to get to that point where you're thinking like that, or you're able to comprehend things like that you've never seen before and you've never been taught before?
You got to go on that very personal development journey, and that's what I did. So as entrepreneurs, you got to understand that for us, what got us to a 6-figure level won't get us to a 7-figure level. What got us to a 7-figure level won't get us to an 8-figure level. So my thing was like, yo, I made 5 figures, but I need to figure out what is it to make. What do I need to get to get to 6 figures? And then from 6, I got to 7. Now I'm looking to get to 8. But my thing is that what I started learning is that all of the people that were super, super successful,
Right.
they focus on developing a strong mindset, a disciplined mindset, and also understanding how things work and how people work more so than anything. Because there's this thing called, and I'm not going to get super deep in it, it's called NLP. It's neuro-linguistic programming. And it's literally about the brain and how we think, how we operate. Once I started studying that, it'll help me in my personal life, but also help me in business and how I sell to people, because now I know how people think. It's down to the fact of certain colors. Red, every time we see red, what do we think? Emergency, stop, right? Those colors on websites says stop. This, like, those literally we see red on it. What is, you know what I'm saying? But green and orange, green means go. Orange, what, you know, those things like green on the website. The reason why you see a lot of people have a website, because those are colors that are programmed in our brain that tell us to go.
Right.
They're safe colors. So I started studying all this stuff about people. Again, it helped me in my personal life. It helped me. So I tell people, listen, there's a guy named David Bayer. He does this conference every year. He's actually getting ready to do it. I want y'all to come with me too. He's doing it again this year, finally. You know, of course, COVID, they had to stop it. But he has this conference called the Powerful Living Experience. When I tell y'all, this is probably the best conference I've ever been to in my life when it comes to personal development, outside of the Landmark. The Landmark is extreme. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very extreme. But the Powerful Living Experience, what I like about it is that he talks about that very much thing. Is he said, he told a story. He was like, again, something happens, and then we create a story around it. He said his dog died.
Yeah.
And when his dog died, he was mad at God. God, why did you? Because think about it, something happened. Why this happening to? Why did my dog die? And then he was like, hold on. He had to realize, hold on. If I believe in God and I believe in a heaven, I'm going to see a dog again. So why am I upset? It was the dog's time to go. I need to, and that's what happens with relationships with women a lot of times, is that they get so frustrated at something that happened instead of saying, why did this happen? Instead of saying, like, why did this happen for a reason? What is this to teach me? What am I supposed to learn from this? You get what I'm saying? And so going to that event, reading certain books and stuff like that, which, you know, that we can do a whole another episode about some of my books. I'm going to bring them in the studio. But yeah, I mean, I've been digging a lot of, doing a lot of diving into these certain different things to expand my mindset, to see, like, you know, half of the time, most of the time when we have a problem, it's the problem that we created in our head. It's not that deep. It's literally not that deep. Like, something happens, we figure out, oh man, they tried to play me. Yo, son, and then then when you actually talk and sit with them, you're like, oh, no, they didn't try to play me. But this what happened, and this is why they reacted, because of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh man, I was tripping. I was bugging. Yeah. But you might not even want to tell the person because you're like, nah, I ain't gonna tell them I was bugging. I felt how I felt because for a reason.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell him. I thought you was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
but that's what happens a lot of times is that something happens, we create a story around it, and that's what makes us mad.
Yeah.
So, all right, kind of switching gears a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This is a question, you all take turns answering, and then I'll answer. How do you know when to turn the switch off? So, as an entrepreneur, you're in grind mode.
Right.
You don't work, you don't eat, right? So, you in hustle. You got to make shit happen.
Yep.
So, how do you know when to turn that off and when to sit back, kind of take it easy, enjoy what's around you?
That's hard.
Let me go first.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because I think, let's go down the line because you got 3 different perspectives here, right? You have a person who is dead smack in the middle, entrepreneur, but also has a regular job. Mm-hmm. You've got entrepreneur that's doing great, but still got a point. Well, I mean, you both have a point, but, we're all trying to get to a different point. And then you have somebody who is like in the millions, and trying to get in the multi-millions. You know what I'm saying? So I think for me, I love money, but I love to smile and laugh and be happy. And I was asked this question, can money buy happiness? Right? That's a fucked up question. Because I believe that if you have the money to do certain things that you would not be able to do, yes, it can provide happiness to an extent.
You know what it is? Money buys freedom and options.
Right.
And that's what brings happiness.
Right. Because I have friends who make significantly less than I do, but they are extremely happy with their lives and their family life and stuff like that. So it's all about, what do you value? Where do you want to be? What do you see? You know what I'm saying? And so for me, my on and off switch is, what is satisfying me at this moment? What am I willing to sacrifice? Am I willing to sacrifice making money here to go here and have fun? You know what I'm saying? Or am I willing to sacrifice this fun to get this bag? And that's what you got to figure out.
Right.
End of the day, let's say right now, right? We're doing this podcast. And this podcast's goal is, 1, to educate people, different ways to get to the bag. But 2, also to produce another stream of income for us, right? But if a decision was, all right, should you guys record today? And whatever you do today is going to bring in $10,000, right? Or should you guys go to Bora Bora and it's going to cost you $10,000, but y'all going to have the time of your life? I'm going to choose that every time. Because you can't take, honestly, you can't take any of it with you when you die, but I think the experiences and the fun that, I think the key to the 3 of us is that we really do have fun together. We laugh a lot. We smile a lot. We talk about, deep things together. That's what's more important to me than making money. You know what I'm saying? The money's going to be there. You'll get to it one way or the other.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I'm going to talk from my standpoint of how I am now. Mm-hmm. Since I don't have a lack of money, I'm probably gonna probably go with the same thing with you. I'm probably gonna go since I don't have a lack of money. When it comes to being able to turn stuff down, I'm blessed that I've got to the point where I've delegated so much of my work to I don't have to work every day.
Right.
I've happened to challenge myself now because I'm getting to a bigger level, but I've just learned from grinding from so long and putting certain people in place. It's allowed me to not have to focus on grinding all the time and have to always think forward.
Right.
When you're in the early stages of entrepreneur, especially early stages of being a full-time entrepreneur, and that's the reason why, Vic, I understand where you're at. Personally, I get it. Trust me, because I remember like it was yesterday when I was there. Mm-hmm. When you get to the level of where you got your staff and team, that allows you to be a little more free and things like that. And so for there is why it's easier for me to turn it down now. But I'll be honest with you, back in the day, it wasn't. So for you, where you are, how long have you been an entrepreneur? Well, how long have you been a full-time entrepreneur? That's key, because it's different from just being an entrepreneur and full-time entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So context,
full-time started beginning June 6, 2020.
Okay, so you're a year and some change in as a full. So as 1 year in, it's pretty damn hard to turn that shit off, ain't it?
Absolutely. I don't turn, like,
Trust me, I know.
And I hear it all the time. Like, people ask me all the time, like, how do you're a full-time dad, you do all these different things, when do you sleep? My thinking and my philosophy is, okay, I'm going to put in the work now. I'm going to make the sacrifices now.
Facts.
So that later on, I don't have to do it. Mm-hmm. I have a 2-year-old son. So I put in the work now. Later on, when he has basketball, football, whatever sport, if he has school plays, whatever he decides to do, whatever extracurriculars, I want to be there. I know what it's like to not have nobody there.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to make the sacrifice now, put in the work. And yes, it does include sacrificing sleep sometimes.
Yep.
To put in the work to where I can get to that point, like what you said, where you have that freedom. You can turn down and you can maneuver how you want to. So that's pretty much where I'm at.
You're not wrong for that.
So, and I feel like it's a struggle sometimes because a lot of people don't understand it.
You'll lose a lot of people around you.
Absolutely. It's already happened. A lot of people don't understand the mentality and the fact that I'm thinking 10 steps ahead. Like I'm thinking into the future. Like, yeah, I understand the whole, self-care, taking care of your body. I get it. Trust me. But the world we live in today, it's not waiting for nobody. Mm-hmm. You depend on one job, you're one step away from poverty and struggle. I don't want to ever be in that situation again.
I tell people, listen, if you got one source of income and it's not making 6 figures, that's equivalent to trying to cut a knife with a fork. Cut a steak with a fork, excuse me. If you're trying to cut a filet mignon steak with a fork, that is equivalent to having one job that does not make 6 figures in the world that we live in now.
I'm going to agree and disagree.
Why?
Here's the reason why I'll disagree. I feel like if you have one job
that's not making 6 figures.
That's not making 6 figures, right?
Yep.
But you're living within your means. Because
that's true.
Let's be real, we have experienced certain things in life that make us want to experience the next level.
Social media.
But how will you retire?
What do you mean? There are people who don't make 6 figures who have a certain salary that comes along with the retirement.
Not for where we're going. See, our parents had that.
Where we're going.
No.
Right?
Not just us 3.
Okay.
I'm talking about where the world is going. Think about this. Inflation.
So you can't have a job that pays you, let's say, $80,000 a year, right?
Right.
And let's say it's a guaranteed $80,000 a year. The only way you can blow this is if you do something that's gonna against policy or whatever else.
Okay.
Well, I'll make it simple. Let's say you have a government job.
But that's the thing, though. Not everybody has a government job.
Hold on, but you're saying the key word that we used here.
Yep, not six figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
I believe that if you have a job that is financing your lifestyle, for example, you're not living outside of your means. You've got, let's say, again, you're making $80,000 a year. It's guaranteed. You work for the government. You work for whoever, right?
I'm about to say it's a difference. Now you can't say government and then you work, because if you're a government but then you work for a CEO at Capital One, if Capital One doesn't hit their numbers for the fourth quarter, guess what's going to happen? You're gone.
That's true. But
government,
but
you had a little bit.
What's the key word that y'all both used?
Make six figures.
Right.
Right.
So
with inflation, to be able to retire,
right.
I don't believe that the pension that my dad has is going to be available for the people in our generation.
It absolutely will not.
I don't think it's going to be there. And even if it is, first off, we're $1 trillion in debt. So even if it is $1,500 a month, you think somebody can live off of that at 70-something years old?
No.
Not really. Not with inflation. Hell, the rent for some, unless they have a house paid off, which hopefully they should at that age. But if they don't, you can't afford to live in America with inflation going up in the next 20, 30 years off $1,500. That's the reason why Walmart greeters.
All I'm saying
Walmart
is
greeters are the people that retire.
live within your means.
But who's really living between their means? That's the thing.
That's not the question.
But
That's not the point.
but you
even
have
if
to.
they are though. Even if they are,
You gotta look at reality too, though, because living within your means, the cost of that is increasing every day.
Exactly. And
So living within your means isn't the same last month as it is this month.
And let's be real, most average people live paycheck to paycheck.
Most,
Most.
but not all.
Not all, most. So we're saying the average person, if you don't make, the average person that's watching this, if you don't make six figures, unless you invest, that's the key thing. That's why I'm saying having one source of income. If you're solely on that one source of income, we have saw because of COVID, some of those same jobs that people were making $50,000, $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
What happened? They gone.
Oh.
It's true.
So if you give somebody the opportunity to feed you, you also give them the opportunity to starve you.
Yes.
So how secure is that one source of income?
And nobody ever goes to their job thinking, I'm going to lose my job today.
Never.
Nobody ever sees it coming. So to say, oh, yeah, I got this job. Yeah, we not going nowhere. You setting yourself up for failure. That's the mentality.
Yep.
And that's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
If you didn't think that way, you wouldn't still be there. Nobody would get the work done. The guys at the top not doing the work, they don't know how.
Facts.
You got to have workers. So in order to keep the workers, you got to attack the mind.
Yeah. And the thing
That's
about
what
it,
happens.
And the thing about it is that, again, so let's look at the car industry. And I want to go back to something that we talked about. So the car dealerships, you guys familiar how the sales floor works in the car dealerships? My sales guy that worked in the car dealership for 20 years, so he told me this. So they have this thing where once you're making a lot of money as a sales, whatever you call them, salesman at the dealership, they have this thing called flood the floor. And so what happens is that when you're selling a whole bunch of cars in the dealership, you're making the money, they bring in newer people to flood the floor, and then they get rid of you and put you to another shitty-ass dealership across the country because you're making them too much money. You're making too much money. They have to pay you too much money. You have to pay out too much commission to that employee. So even though you've worked and brought this dealership from the bottom to the top in the city, we gotta pay you too much. So we know what? We bringing you to Alabama at the lowest dealership in the city, and let's see if you can do the same thing for them. That's what happens. Companies
I
do
agree,
that.
but not all companies.
I didn't say
do
all,
that.
but I'm saying
there are some companies that take care of their employees.
Nah, I didn't say all, but I'm saying we're
they
talking about
Would you
the
say
average
that? Would you say the
people.
government does? Just honest opinion. Would you say that? And
Yes,
okay,
I will.
okay. So I'm gonna
Do
give
you
you.
know how hard it is to lose a government job?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
But do you know
So
why that
yes.
is?
So yes.
Do you know why that is?
Why?
So you know how the government works. The government outsources everything.
Uh-huh.
So the government doesn't actually have employees to do the work. They outsource everything. That's what contractors are. They contract everything out. So they hire other people to do the work for
But
them.
I think that depends on the job. Not every job is available to a contractor. And not every job is contractable.
Okay, so who runs the government?
What do you mean who runs it?
Who runs the government? So when we talk about the government, who's the boss?
You mean who's the boss? The president's the boss.
Okay. Let's talk. Okay, and we talking federal.
Yep.
So the president is the boss.
Right.
Then you have Congress. You have you have the Senate. You have the House of Representatives. Right. Who makes the decisions on where the money is allocated for the government?
Listen, man.
Who makes a decision? No, I'm getting to a point. But who makes those decisions?
Get to your point.
Who makes those decisions?
Get to your
It's too
point.
much hit in here. He can't remember.
I'm like, damn. Can I get to your point? What's your point? Go ahead.
The point is, you say that the government, like some jobs aren't contracted out.
Uh-huh.
Everything the government does is outsourced.
Right.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking from
I don't
toilet
agree.
paper.
I don't agree, but
It's-
make your point. Make your point. You're taking a long time to make this point.
No, what I'm saying is everything is outsourced.
Right.
So you can say, oh yeah, the government's taking care of me. But if whatever agency or whoever you work for loses that contract, or they don't get their contract doesn't get renewed, you're out of a job.
Wow.
But that's when you work for the government. You don't work for a contract. There's a difference. When you're a contractor, you work for the government.
But what
So,
you're
I'll give you an example. Let's just go with FBI police.
okay.
There's no contract on FBI police. You are an FBI police officer. This is what you're going to make. You may make more or less depending on how you perform, but this is it. It's not going to change.
Who appoints the head of the FBI?
It's never going to change.
Who
That's
appoints
not
the
gonna
head of the
change.
FBI?
That's not going to change.
It just changed
But what
with the
about-
president.
I'm about to say, what
Right.
about
It changed with the president, but at the end of the day, the job is not going to change. You're still going to be an FBI police officer. They're not going to get rid of them.
But weren't they talking about defunding the police and stuff?
That's bullshit. That is never going to happen.
But
You know
what
that,
I'm
right?
saying-
It's never going to happen.
There's a lot of shit that we didn't think.
What
was
I'm
gonna
saying
happen.
is there's
They're
one
never gonna defund the
guy
police.
that can come in. A new president could come in and say, all right, I don't want him the head of the FBI. I want this guy there.
That's true. I agree. But what I'm saying is that there are certain jobs that are still going to remain in place.
So-
to include, for example, you work for the military. Do you think they're going to stop having people in the military because some president comes in and is like, oh, we don't need this many people?
They're not, but they're going to move people around, and they do that. When they lose funding, which has happened, if they lose funding, they start cutting jobs. So ratings, like say there's a rating that's not as much in demand, they move those people from that rating that they signed up to do, and they put them in some bullshit. They do that now,
Yeah.
and that's a government position.
I feel you, and I hear you. But all I'm saying is that there are different variations in everything that we're talking about here. And nothing is completely black and white.
Right.
So what I'm saying is,
The point is
my
everybody's
point-
expendable.
let me make my point first.
Uh-huh.
My point is everything that I said in the beginning. You do not have to make more than 100,000 or more to survive.
No, I'm not talking
So
about
survive, no.
I'm not talking about survive per se, but I'm just saying long term. If you make less than that, you will work till you die.
You will. You will. However, the point that I'm trying to make is, I think we're all in agreement of multiple streams of income is the way.
It's a necessity.
It's
to
a necessity,
gain
I believe.
financial freedom. But there are people who make $90,000 a year, drive a Corolla, live in an apartment that's
I don't
less
think they
than
drive a Corolla at
$1,000.
$90,000 though.
Huh?
I think more of the 30, 40 grand drive a Corolla.
Let me finish though.
Go ahead though.
But there are people who, again, live within their means.
Yeah, that's
They adjust their lifestyle so that they can continue to sustain it and still be able to stack bread and live comfortably.
Let me ask you a question. How many people in our culture live like that?
We're not talking about that.
But we talk
The
about
question
that, right now.
that was the words that's the problem
I
when you
understand that.
use words
No,
that
no.
are
I'm not reneging.
always and never and
But I'm saying
all people and you know what I'm saying?
not
Like
saying
you gotta
all.
choose your wording correctly.
No, I'm not saying all. Well, I said all in there, but I'm talking about for our listeners,
Yeah.
people that are in our, because we're educating the people that's watching us now.
Oh, absolutely.
Most of them are going to be people that come from our community.
I agree.
How many of them do you know that lives like that?
I mean, I agree. For the most part, we,
Yeah.
we don't live
that's-
within
that-
our
and that's the-
means.
and that's the
we,
problem.
We get an extra couple of dollars and we gonna buy an extra couple
The-
things.
the-
We
and
gonna,
then
we
the-
gonna upgrade our lifestyle.
Little bit.
So, but I mean, again, I'm not going against the purpose of our podcast and what
Yeah.
we do. I just don't want to discourage those who aren't there. You know what I mean?
No,
Those
it's not
who
that they're
because
not there.
and I mean I say this for a reason.
Right.
I say it for a reason. Like I think people need to know that, you know, I'm gonna give y'all a story, right? So Tuesday we recorded, right? I pulled up on my daughter. I took her to Chick-fil-A. I took her lunch after school, picked her up from getting off her bus, brought her lunch. We were talking. I had on a lime green uniform, you know, the shirt that says rapper, line, athlete, line. What was the rest of it? Entrepreneur, right? And she said, "Dad, I want a shirt like that." I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "Why? What you gonna do with it?" I said, "Is this what you want?" I said, "You want to be an entrepreneur?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "That's dope." She said, "But I don't want to just be an entrepreneur." She said, "I want to have a regular job, but I also want to be an entrepreneur to bring in extra money." And I think that that's a part that we need to show people, which again is I think the reason why I'm here, is to show people that you can still have your 9 to 5. I make 6 figures on my 9 to 5, my guaranteed paycheck. And I'm also making what we make through Turo and Airbnb and the various other ventures that we're going to venture into. But people need to know that it's okay to do both. You don't have to be an 100% entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we never said that.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying
I was
that.
I was
that's
there.
not
I
what-
was
I'm not-
doing it.
I'm
just
not
a
saying
year
I'm
ago.
not saying you guys said
Yeah.
that.
But here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
Before we got together and created this podcast,
Yeah.
and you had a guaranteed 6-figure job,
Uh-huh.
what happened? You said it's not enough.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm
Listen,
saying.
man.
So that's what we
I
tell
could
the
be making $1
listeners.
million a month. It still ain't gonna be
The
enough.
But that's the
listeners.
thing. You're always gonna want more.
Absolutely.
That's the human
I
mind.
mean, that's
You're
the
always
ambition.
gonna.
That's the ambition he has too, though, because some
Yeah.
people don't want more.
Right.
Some people cool with making whatever
Nah.
they make. playing Call of Duty
Everybody
at night,
wants
and they
more.
fine.
Not everybody is willing to do what it takes to get more. Everybody wants more though.
Yeah.
Typically do.
Yeah.
Typically do. But what I'm saying is that it comes down being what I was saying is that it's not enough just to have a job when a job can be replaceable and you don't have any investments. I'm not against you working a job. If you love your career, why would you quit?
Right.
That's stupid. It's just you're doing what you love. That's the dumbest thing you could do. The issue I have with people is that people have a job that they're working that they don't like and they complain
Yeah.
on social media. Oh man, it's been a long week. Oh my gosh, I hate this job. Oh, I can't wait till Friday. Why are you complaining about something that you can change?
Agreed.
Right? Or, put in some work, get some investment properties or Airbnbs or get into it or do something else. Because if you hate your job, one, and you're going into it every single day thinking that it's never going to leave. You got the job for the rest of your life, whatever the case may be. Inflation going up. Most people carry debt, and they don't carry good debt. And that's no other subject. We can talk about good debt and bad debt. And then they end up retiring, but then they end up a Walmart greeter.
Yeah,
because it's not enough money.
Do y'all know the story of U.S. Airways?
I don't.
About what happened with them? So U.S. Airways went out of business, right? They went bankrupt. So every employee that was putting money into their 401k lost it.
Wow.
All of it.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
The executives took it all.
Dang.
They went to the U.S. Supreme Court to fight it.
Right.
You know they ruled in favor of the exec. They didn't get anything. I'm talking pilots, stewardesses.
Wow.
They didn't get anything.
That's crazy.
Now, you got to think. Those are people that love their job. Pilots, they love their jobs.
Yeah.
They love flying.
Absolutely. And that happens. So that
they investing so that they can retire. They putting this money in this 401k and boom, just like that is gone. And then you go to the highest court in the land
and then still don't win.
And still can't get it.
That's crazy. So listen, I want to go back to back to the subject at hand of mental health. And the reason I want to go back to this is because you said something and I'm like, you said something that reminds me of myself, of how I used to be, but something that I remembered that I had to get better on. And what I'm talking about is, you said, things only fall on me. I'm the only person that has my back, and I have to perform because I don't have anybody else. And the challenge, and what happens with that is that it's great because you carry this weight on your shoulders, right? And we love it. We love the grind of it. But the challenge and the issue comes into place is that who has your back?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the motivator still needs motivation from somebody else. The person that's carrying the weight still needs to, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You got to have that, because it comes to a point where, you carrying this weight and then you brush your back and you're like, shit, I'm.
So I'll tell you. So I would say before this,
yeah,
it was nobody. Like I was, and I say it all the time, I was a big fish in a small pond.
Okay.
So I realized, I got to the point where I was just like, well, damn, everybody come to me, everybody looking at me like, hey, you doing a good job, blah, blah, blah. Hey, teach me how to do this. All good. But at the same time, I'm not growing. I'm standing at, I'm stagnant. So I was like, all right, well, I got to figure out how to get in a better circle, a circle that will motivate me.
Yeah.
Your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
So when I remember sitting down, matter of fact, I don't even know, you probably don't even know this.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in Lit one time. It was me and Gabe.
Okay.
And he introduced me to you. And it was, and I remember him telling me, he was like, yeah, that's how, he taught me about like wholesaling and all that. He was like, yeah, he doing it big and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, cool. And then there was another point where we met and Lit again. And I think that's when we was all there. Or I think me and you was in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think we had got to the point where we were.
Nah, we wasn't.
I know what you're talking about.
Nah, we wasn't all like, we wasn't all hanging out.
That's the time when I met Gabe for the first time.
Yeah. So anyway, in my head, I'm thinking like, cause I'm hearing these different things, and and he was telling me, and then it was a couple other people that was basically like, yeah, he's big in real estate, blah blah blah. So I was like, oh, okay, well, shit, let me find out what's up. And what I did, and you probably don't know, I actually went and purchased your course because I was like, man, I need to figure out how he doing this. And initially it was like, cause you real kind of chill, laid back.
Yeah.
So, and I never been the type to like, I don't press nobody. I don't, and then, I don't know, maybe it's a pride thing. I don't know. But, so it was just basically like, shaking hands, say what's up. All right, cool. So when we got to the point where when we went to Penthouse.
Yeah.
And that's actually when we discussed this.
Right.
So in my head, I remember that whole next morning, and I actually called you.
Right.
And I said, yo, I think she can get big. Like we was talking, and I didn't even know if anybody was serious at the time.
Okay.
But my brain, my wheels was spinning.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when I think I got to the point where I was like, all right, well, I think this would be good because you're basically doing the things that a level that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
So I did look at you like that. Like, all right, cool. We create this circle. That's something that I can build off of. We bounce ideas off each other.
Right. And
grow that way. So when we just had that conversation, I didn't know nothing about doing no podcast. We was all just kind of getting into the Turo conversation.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to make this shit work.
So
that you see,
I'm
serious.
I'm so glad you did that though. I'm gonna be real with you. Because I remember a conversation with this young man. So I remember, he probably don't remember. We was at
I can tell you where we was at.
We was at Ybor. We was at the spot Tanger, right? And I ran into him. I used to see him all the time. I said what up to him, met up through Joey and stuff. And I'm like you said, I'm low key. I don't need to say nothing about what I got going on.
Yeah.
I ran into him. He's like, hey man, I saw you was a joint. I saw you ad or something pop up, man. You got the Rolls Royce.
That wasn't Ybor.
That wasn't Tanger?
No, that was what's that spot on the corner of Twigs and Franklin? The restaurant.
Haiku?
No.
You talking about I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of the name of that restaurant right now. I know
Dio
Mediterranean.
You were having lunch with Joey there.
Yes.
And I pulled up with my coworkers and ended up sitting down and talking to y'all. And that's when I brought it up. And you know how it's funny that it's coming up today? Because that exact question was asked of me today.
Really?
It was, how did you meet Chris? And how did things pop off? And I was like, yo, I've known Chris in passing for a while through Joey. I was like, I would always, I didn't know very many people. Joey would tell me to pull up. I'd pull up, be sitting in the DJ booth with him or whatever else. And then, you'd pull up and be like, yo, what's up, blah, 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 blah. And then, I saw your stuff come up on somebody from back home's page. And they were reposting. And I was like, I see this dude all the time. I was like, yo, I see him all the time. And that's when I said something to you. And you were like, and those who see him, and he tell you this, he was like, yeah. I was like, yo, you're this. I heard this about you. I've seen this, blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, yeah, anytime you got some free time, come sit down with me. We'll talk about it. I'll put you on. That's his mentality. It's not a, nah, that ain't me, or nah, saying that. Like, he don't play it down. He don't play it up. It's come talk to me. Yeah. And same thing with Vic. Me and Vic would always, the funny thing is me and Vic met at Green Lemon, right? And
Taco Tuesday.
And me and my homeboy Greg were always like, yo, we'll go, but we're only going to go once a month. Because my thing is, I never wanted to be a regular face that people saw all the time. I wanted to just be somebody that was in and out and kept it moving and did my thing. And even though we're not that anymore, I think we both still, or all three of us are still like that, where we're just we're just there. And I said, yo, same thing with Chris, same thing with Vic. Whenever we were around each other, it's like we were always there.
Yeah.
But we just had a way about us that drew the three of us to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Me and you. You were with some people I knew. Greg introduced me. You were like, let's take a round. And then, of course, the next time I go to Green Lemon, which is a random day, you're there. And we do it again. And I was just like, yo, that dude is cool as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's never knew me a day in his life, but it's so welcoming. And it's like, yo, what's good? Blah, 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 blah. And then same thing with you. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, we all end up vibing together.
Right.
Because it's the same type of energy where, like, people don't know me for who I really am. Y'all do. Y'all know that I'm goofy as shit.
Definitely.
But people who don't know me don't know that. They just know me as BK. People who haven't taken the time, they'll be like, yo, let me see who this dude really is. I mean, I remember back in DC, I was told I was arrogant and all that. Mm-hmm. Because I was doing things at 21, 22 that grown men weren't doing. And
yeah, I mean, shit, you came out and had a 6-figure job.
Right. I had a 6-figure job at 21. I was driving an S550 at 21. I had my own house at 21. You know, but I never treated people as though I was better than them. I'm one of those people who, if I'm put in a room and I don't know very many people, I'm going to just sit back and observe the room.
Yeah.
And a lot of people take that the wrong way. They take it as you're judging or whatever else. It's like, nah, I'm just like, hey, I don't know, y'all. Like, hey, I'm one of those people that I'm like, a lot of other people are like, I trust you until you give me a reason not to. I'm like, nah, I don't trust you until you give me a reason to trust you.
Yeah. Well, I think the learning lesson here is for everybody that's watching is that at the end of the day, one, go to the club, go to the nightclub. You might meet your next best friend. You might meet your next business partner.
Facts.
There's this whole thing about the club of, it's just, listen, that's not necessarily true. Two, you know, if you're around somebody that feels that they can share with you without having to get something in return per se, and they naturally want to see you win and progress and shine just like them, the synergy is there. Use it to your advantage because, again,
absolutely,
like, you know, it's hard to find solid people. Mm-hmm. We all know that.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard out here. And so, you know, for those just listening, if you come across somebody that's solid and, you know, again, they want to help you out, they want to, you know, see you win, and they want to pass over some things, and you want to pass over some things to them. Y'all can both share knowledge and gems with each other. Mm-hmm. You know, do yourself a solid and do that. You know, for me, I love to share. You know, the Jay-Z line, listen, if your whole crew is rich, you rugged, right? Because if one of y'all fall, y'all could be each other's crutches. I've always felt like that.
Yeah.
That's always been me.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? And so as long as the mindset is there,
yeah,
I'm like, shoot, let's go.
And don't be afraid to make yourself a little more vulnerable than normal. Because like I said, I've always been the one that people have looked to or looked up to. I've been that big fish in a small pond. So I've never really known how to approach somebody as like a mentor or somebody that I'm aspiring to be like, or, you know, get to that level. So it was new for me.
Okay.
But it was just like I was at that point in my life where I was just like, man, I can't keep doing the same thing. I gotta do something different. So, and then I also go into it with the mentality like, all right, well, I never want anybody to ever feel like I'm just trying to use them or I'm just trying to eat off them, or because I know how that feels because I've had multiple people do it to me.
Yeah.
So I'm always thinking like, okay, well, how can I approach it to where I can show, okay, I'm serious. I got this to bring to the table. This is the value that I hold.
Yeah.
So
now that makes sense. That's exactly how I've always thought. Yeah. When I want something for somebody, there's a book for everybody who's watching this and listening to this. There's a book by Dale Carnegie. It's called How to Win and Influence Friends. Mm-hmm. Right? I read that book in 2010.
That's a great book.
And the one thing it talks about how to win and influence friends is that one of the things anyway is you can win people over by first being a servant.
Mm-hmm.
See, most people come with that. What's it for me?
Yep. Let me get this.
I've always been to say, okay, you know what? I know I want to do this with somebody. I know I want to be in this person's circle. So let me figure out what things that they have avoided in their life, and let me instantly do that. Point and blank. The reason why I got cool with, and shout out to Neo and Josh and all of those guys, is that I knew there was something that they didn't have. They didn't know how to use email marketing, and they was like, oh, how does he send out so many emails? So I said, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Bam, gave it away. Nothing in exchange. But they seeing, oh man, he gives away all this, cool. Mm-hmm. They brought me in this circle. We got cool, and they helped me, make a lot of fucking money last year. Yeah. So that's what it is. Like, I just learned, like, whenever you want something, be a servant first. Mm-hmm. Be a servant first. Don't come with your hand out, because if you serve first, somebody gonna say, okay, you know what, this person's solid. Cool. I'm gonna give them opportunity.
Yeah. Yep. Put your pride to the side.
Put your pride and egos. Put pride in it, because that's what messes us up.
Mm-hmm. And not just that. Try to be a fucking friend.
True.
Because I don't know if you guys caught it, but the thing that we have going on here started as a friendship.
Yeah.
It was never intended to be a business thing. It was literally 3 dudes who enjoyed each other's vibe.
Yeah.
3 dudes who were like, hey, I'm going here today. You trying to go? Or I'm about to do this today. You with it? You know what I'm saying? Who eventually turned into 3 dudes who are like, yo, we're the same.
Right.
Not exactly the same, but when it comes to the big picture, we're very similar.
Yeah. I was going to say, it always ended up being like, all right, Thursday night, lit closing.
Right.
Y'all trying to hit Penthouse? Hey, and then he'll look at me, so we going to Penthouse?
Yep.
Damn. And I remember the first time, the first time he was like, yo, the food there banging.
Yep.
Got there and got the salmon.
Right.
And now every time I'm like, all right, I go just for the salmon though. Just for the salmon.
Yeah, facts.
Hey, shout out to Penthouse.
Shout out to Penthouse, man. So listen, we could go on and on tonight, with some things we covered, but I got some more stuff on another episode that we'll cover, going deeper. So for all y'all listening and watching this, hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Make sure wherever you're watching this or wherever you listen to this, make sure you share it out. If this is on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever, make sure you hit the subscribe button. All right, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought about this episode as well, too. We're going to have some different things. We're going to talk about money, of course, but we want to make sure your mental is good as well.
Absolutely.
Right? That's where it starts.
That's where it starts, man. Okay. So if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you like, drop a comment, also subscribe, share it out to us. We're going to have our Instagram handles in the description as well in the show notes. Make sure you tag us in Instagram. Let us know we listen to this if you like this episode. And
Patreon.
Hit our Patreon, please. Make sure we got a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we do not put on the podcast that you guys want to tap into.
Some gems in that Patreon.
Gems and
it's funny too.
Fun,
it's entertaining.
It'll show you a lot of our personality that you may not see on the show.
Absolutely. So make sure you go ahead and also go ahead and be a subscriber for our Patreon. We're gonna have a link also for you to go ahead and do that. So once again, appreciate y'all tapping in. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bruce, aka Detroit Mogul.
Vic Gurley, aka MVP Vic.
Brian Keys, a.k.a. BK609.
And we'll see y'all on the next one.
Peace.
I used to look for the rainy days to help wash my pain away. Now I don't make a payment late. New estate got my name on the gate. That's what my granny call amazing grace.